this week, in honour of World Card Making Day on Saturday, the 2nd of October, I set the ladies in my craft group a sketch challenge. And this is the sketch that we've been working with this week. And here are the 4 cards that I have made so far using this sketch. It was this one, a lovely Christmas card using the Evergreen Elegance stamp set. This one that uses the Sweet Stockings suite of products. This one, which uses the Whimsy and Wonder suite of products. And this one uses Painted Christmas. So as you can see, they all are variations on the original sketch. Today, for my final card in the series, I'll be using the Harvest Meadow suite, which is also in the July to December mini catalogue. It includes so many wonderful products in this suite. There is the stamp set. Love this blobby one, great for backgrounds. There is the Designer Series paper, which you can see here. There are the coordinating dies. There's one more, this one here that I'll be using. But lovely florals. I love this stick one. And some great label dies as well. There's also this cork paper, which is just so unusual. It's really quite thin, but it does have a bit of a texture to it. It's die cuts beautifully and just adds a lovely texture to your projects. And then there are the brushed metallic gems, or dots I think they're called. So all of those products can be found on pages 54, 55 and 56 of the mini catalogue. It really is the most beautiful colour palette, and the images and die cuts are just glorious. So here's an example of that cork paper used to make a frame. Works well back with the tags. Just a lovely, lovely suite of products. So let's make a start. I've die cut most of my little bits and pieces that I'm going to be using today. Gone with a early Espresso, Bumblebee and Crumb Cake colour palette. So these are all my bits and bobs that I'll be using today. There are 3 of those underneath there. All the measurements will be in the description below. First of all, I'm going to use a sponge dauber and Crumb Cake ink, and I'm going to just lightly sponge all the edges of this piece of DSP. Sponging the edges just gives a little bit of additional texture. And it also gets rid of that sort of white core you can see when you cut a piece of DSP. I'm going to do the same for this piece of Bumblebee DSP, or Bumblebee coloured DSP. Now it's time to start putting some of these pieces together. So I'm going to glue my piece of DSP onto this mat of early Espresso. I like to use the liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of movement, so I can ensure that my margins are all perfectly spaced. We'll add this to the card next. card base is also Bumblebee. Okay, ready for our panel to be attached. Now I'm just going to pop this on here, try and even it up so that I can get a bit of an idea of where is the centre of this piece. Looks about right. These grid sheets are great for when you need to get things nice and lined up. You can see that that's pretty central. Perfect. We're going to work on the focal panel next. The top piece is cut from the cork paper, and then I've cut 2 identical pieces from Crumb Cake. Now I've done that because I wanted to add some stability to this, but I also wanted to add some dimension. And so by layering up 3 pieces, you get a very subtle but noticeable dimension to your panel. Here are the 3 pieces all glued together. As you can see, it's now quite rigid and has some texture about it. When you put it onto the card, you can see that nice shadow line here, and it also looks like it's popping up off the card. Now I'm going to use liquid glue to adhere my panel to the front of my card. Ensuring that I've got equal pieces of Bumblebee on either side and equal pieces of this other designer series paper, top and bottom. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're ready to add some of the final touches. I have previously die cut this piece of wheat, and that's what's represented in the back here, from a piece of early espresso. Usually with a die as intricate as this, I would use the double-sided adhesive, but because I knew that it was going to be sitting up a little proud, so I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to use a silicone mat and some of my liquid glue. Now the beauty of this mat is that nothing sticks to it. As soon as this dries, you can just peel it off. I'm going to turn this over, and using a sponge dauber, I'm going to apply glue along this central area. As these pieces are sitting up above our raised panel, I am actually going to put some mini glue dots behind them. Probably should have done this beforehand. I'm going to cut them in half and just try and put a few of them behind here to give this a little bit of extra support. So you can just pull this away. Pop that one there. This one here. Take off the backing. All fingers and thumbs today. And then carefully push that down, and now that is well supported. And now it's time for some stamping. For my panel, for the inside of my card, I'm going to use this stamp from the stamp set. And Bumblebee, and I'm just going to do a little stamp in the corner, and I'm going to repeat that for the envelope. So that's done. Our last piece of stamping is the greeting. Now the greeting I've chosen for today comes from the Quiet Meadow stamp set, and it's this one here, Thinking of You. A piece here, and I'm going to do this in Early Espresso. Now I'm going to use this die that comes from the Harvest dies, which is part of this set, to cut out the greeting. So time to finish off the card. So I've stamped, die cut my greeting, and now I'm going to put a dimensional on the top and a little bit of glue on the bottom and adhere it to my card here at the top. Some gems. Put some down here. These are the brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. They're lovely. And one up here. Time to put our panel on the inside. And our card and matching envelope using the sketch challenge for this week is complete. So that's the 5 cards now that I've done for this week. This one today using all the Harvest Meadow suite of products, and then the other 4 that I have done during the week that all have a Christmas theme to them. Here's the 4th one here. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now it's up to you to get out your supplies and, using the sketch, create a card. Here's the card I created today once again, and I just want to say Happy World Card Making Day, everyone. Bye for now.